Good evening. I'm Alexandra Burnley.
And I'm Darren Bobb. Today, lawyers filed responses to the Arkansas Supreme Court over a temporary restraining order blocking the act from going into effect. In today's reply briefings, both sides emphasized the argument about the procedure used to record the emergency clause vote. Opponents continued the argument that the Emergency Act was not invoked properly.
The state argues that it had been implemented properly based on established Arkansas legislative procedures. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams has the latest for us tonight.
We've been telling you about the ongoing lawsuit for weeks now. Lawyers representing parents in the Marvell-Elaine school district are pushing to delay the start of the Governor's Learn Act. It's one of the many challenges against the new law. The 145-page education reform plan raises teacher pay, offers more paid maternity leave, offers literacy programs, and introduces a voucher program that will be phased in over 3 years. Groups opposing the reform plan say the act will further lead to the defunding and privatization of public education.
The voucher scams are taking public dollars from public schools and funneling them into private businesses that aren't held to the same standards as public schools are. And so what we're going to see is taxpayer dollars being spent in private schools where they can discriminate against children if they choose. There's no oversight there whatsoever.
But Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders says the only people opposing it are a vocal minority.
We feel confident that there will be a ruling in the near future, and we feel very solid about our case and the Attorney General representing us that we will win in the Supreme Court.
There's been lots of talk about the ongoing case in front of the state Supreme Court, so let's break it down for you. The question before the court has to do with a temporary restraining order blocking the start date of the LEARNS Act. The group looking for the order claimed the lawmakers did not follow legislature procedure in approving the act with an emergency clause, which would have put into an immediate effect instead of later this summer. This all started over the group's push to block the Friendship Education Foundation from taking over the rural Marvell-Elaine school district in the eastern part of the state.
The language in the Constitution, the state Constitution, is very clear. There has to be a separate vote on the emergency clause. And, I watched the video. There was not a separate vote. So they lumped it together. And unfortunately, it appears that they did this with about 100 other bills that went through during the session. And so there's a lot of concerns.
The good news is LEARNS is going to go into effect regardless of what happens. It just depends on the timing of whether that happens in the next few days or the next couple of weeks. But this is a piece of legislation that was overwhelmingly passed in the legislature, and the court does not have the ability to block it completely.
Justices are set to rule on the case sometime this week, and in the meantime, Citizens for Arkansas Public Education and Students, or known as CAPES, is also pushing to put the LEARNS Act to a statewide vote. That referendum is one step closer to being on the November 2024 ballot after Attorney General Tim Griffin approved the ballot language on Monday.
So we were really excited. This was our 3rd submission for the ballot title, and the first 2 we were told they were too short, and so they weren't detailed enough. And so this time around, we were able to condense the LEARNS Act and summarize it.
CAPES still need to get more than 54,000 signatures across the state for their petition to go on the ballot. Their goal is 90,000, but they're expecting even more legal challenges.
Once we get our signatures and we go to turn everything in, there could be somebody that files a lawsuit against our ballot title or our signatures.
We'll keep you up to date on every ruling when it comes to the LEARNS Act, and we'll continue to post new details on our website, 5newsonline.com. Rachel Williams, 5 News.